Hello amazing people, welcome back to my channel guys. How you all doing today? Hope you're all doing great. Today is going to be a quick one as I show you how to make this beautiful front slit kaftan dress. Super easy guys. So here is the African print I'm going to be using here today. Yes, and I have my tools, of course, I'll be working with. Then what I'm going to do now is to lay my fabric on the table so that we can get started. But before that, I'm going to make a quick demonstration for you guys so you understand this better. So here I have a piece of fabric. I'm just quickly demonstrating just a quick sketch of what my kaftan actually looks like. Okay, so if you look closely on the thumbnail, you can see that the lower part of this kaftan actually has a flare effect there. Yeah, more like a flare or a pleat or a gather, whatever it is you probably want yours to look like. Okay, yes. So this is how it looks, and of course at the center there is a front slit there. And yeah, so this is the measurement. The full length of this kaftan is actually 58 inches. So the lower length where we're going to have that flare, I want it to be like 8 inches, so which means from the shoulder top to that point is going to be 50 inches. Okay, yes. So here I have my fabrics already folded, and of course I'm cutting out for both the front and the back piece together. Yes, so the full length here now is just 50 inches. So I just added extra 1 inches allowance I'm going to be using for both the hemming allowance at the lower part and also the shoulder joining as well. So my first thing I did now was to take 1 inches downward at the top, the edge of that cloth. So this is just going to represent my slope. So I'm just taking 1 inches all the way to 3 inches on the other part, just like we usually mark our slope when we're cutting our regular tops or blouses. Yeah. So once I've done that, I'm taking the neck width of 4 and the neck depth of 5. So in my own case here, I'm going to use the same neck depth and neck width for both the front and the back piece. Okay. Yes, for yours you can actually make it different. It's optional what you want here. So I'll go ahead and cut out the neckline and also the shoulder. Okay, yeah, so this is the first thing I'm doing right now. So once I'm done, I'll go ahead and separate it so I can focus on the front piece. Now I just set out the back piece apart. So you can see how this looks now. Having it still the way it is, I'm going to be slitting open the center part. Okay, yes, so this is the front piece. I'm slitting it open. Yes, and you can see I have it in separate piece right now. Okay, yes, and I'm going to use this plain fabric. This is satin fabric. This is what I'm going to use for the band at the edge there. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to use. But in order to know the amount of fabric you want, you can see me taking my tape from that neckline all the way to the lower point. I have about 46. So remember, this is splitted into two, so I have 46 on one side of the front and 46 on the other side. Okay, yes. So now that I know what it is, then I'll go ahead and cut out a piece of fabric. So I'm going to cut out about 4 inches. Yeah, 4 inches in width and 46 inches in length. Okay, yeah, so this is also a quick demonstration of what my cutout is going to be for my band. So this is like the 4 inches in width and the 46 inches in depth. This is how it's going to be. So I'm folding in half of an inch on one end, folding in half of an inch again, then I'll bring the two of them close together. So this is exactly what I'm going to do for my 46 inches in length. Yes, at the end of the day I have about 1.5. I can even reduce it to 1 inch. So I'm going to do this then, and of course I need my ironing to give me a very neat and relaxed effect on this strip. Okay, yes, so that is what I'm going to use to line up what the cutout opening. And here you can see I've gone ahead to do that. My strip is all ready for both sides of the front piece. You can see how this is looking already well ironed. Yes, so what I'm going to do now is to go ahead and attach this. So you can see some lines here. So what I marked at that edge is actually 5 half inches, 0.5 inches. I marked it from the top of that neckline to the lower part. So this is just a guide. Okay, it's necessary you do this. Yeah, so this is going to be a guide now because I'm going to be tucking this in. So I'll tuck it in such a way that it's going to be on that line. Okay, yes, you can see me tucking it in. So in other words, what I have for the width of this my strip fold is like 1 inches. So if I'm tucking it into that half inches, that means I have what, 0.5 inches extra that is protruding out. I hope you understand that. Yes, so that 0.5 inches that is protruding out now is what I'll be using for my overlapping when I'm doing my final, close up at that center piece. So I'm just going to actually do this. You can see me what I'm demonstrating now. I'm going to what, hold this down all the way to like 2 inches, before the end of that the dress itself. So I'm going to stop at that point. Okay, yeah, so this is exactly what I'm going to do, and this needs to be done. Then afterwards you can now fix the neckline. So I also have a casing for that as well, for both the front and the back piece. This is the casing I cut out as well. Yes, so yes, so once I'm done now, you can now go ahead and fix the flare at the lower part as well. So in order to also know the amount of flare, you can see this is just one part of the front piece. I'm going to take the measurement. Okay, so if you take the measurement there, what I'll have there is about 23. So that 23, I'm going to multiply it by 2.54 by 3 inches, depending on how much of the flare or gathers effect that you want on that lower part. Whatever it is you measure, multiply by 3. So that's what I'm going to do. And remember, the length of that piece, we said it was going to be 8 inches. Okay, but of course I didn't cut out exactly 8 inches. I cut out about 9 inches thereabouts. Okay, so because I'm going to be hemming it on the both sides, of course I'm joining it to the upper piece of the dress. Yes, so I have my piece cut out. Then I'll go ahead and what, make my pleats or my gathers, which I'm going to be attaching what, to the lower part. So it's just a straightforward thing. So you can see how I'm demonstrating. Just make your tiny pleats depending on how much of it you want. Okay, sometimes your amount of fabric can also determine that. The essence is just to give that lower part that bit of what, flare effect. Yes, so once I'm done finishing all this up, then I'll also go ahead and hem the lower part. Important to do this before fixing it to the dress itself. Yes, guys, so you can see I've gone ahead to finish it up. You can see my neckline. I've fixed my casing. This is for the back piece. You can see how this is looking. I've also attached my flare. You can see this, my gathers rather. So that's for the back piece. Then from the front piece, you can see this also repeated the same process, but this time around I've also gone ahead to fix my band. You can see how this is looking already. Yeah, so remember when I said I was going to stop my band with 2 inches above. I actually changed my mind because I've already fixed my flare at the lower part, so there was no point. So I just decided to run through the band all the way to the floor line, which is also good for me. I love it that way better. But if you want it to stop at that edge, just like what you have on the thumbnail, then you need to what, fixing the cape first before attaching, the lower part. Okay, yes, so that is it, guys. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to take note of the points where I want my slit opening to start from. Okay, so from the shoulder point now, I'm marking out about 38 inches. Okay, so I'm still doing the same thing for the other side of the front piece. I'm just chalking it down to be sure that they are both on the same length. Okay, so 38 inches. So what I'll do now, I'm going to what, overlapping it. So it's also important to make this, on the front piece first before doing anything. You can see we'll have a wider space to work with. Okay, yes. So if you look at the thumbnail, you can actually see that from the top there's a little bit of opening. So this totally depends on you, and also considering that the one we have on thumbnail, the neckline is much higher, but my, remember I used 4 inches, 4 by 5 inches, okay, for both the front and the back neckline. So it's optional if you want it this way. So that 0.5 inches that was protruding out then when we're fixing this band, that is what we're going to use to overlap right now. So you can see me placing one over the other. at that half inches mark. You can also, of course, give a little bit of sketch line as well. You can just draw, not necessarily up to 0.5 inches. So it can also be a guide. Always use your chalk to chalk out down so it makes things easy for you. So you can see what I'm doing now. I've overlapped it and I'm now pinning it down. So I'm going to stop at that point. You can see my markings there where my slit will actually start from. Okay, so that's where I'm going to stop. The remaining to down is going to be open. Okay, yes, so that is it, guys. You can see how this is looking already. And of course, if you have not liked this video, please don't forget to do that now. Like, share, and also if you've not subscribed to my channel, guys, please don't forget to do that. I'll really appreciate this a lot. Okay, yes, guys, thank you. So here it is. You can see how beautiful this is looking already. Yes, so once this is done, after pinning it down, of course, I'll go ahead and stitch it all through. Yes, and the front piece will be ready. So the next thing to do now will be what to join it at the shoulder as well. So I'm placing the back piece over it, and I'm going to do 0.5 inches to join my shoulder. That was the allowances we actually left at the beginning, if you remember. Yes, so once I'm done joining the shoulders, you can see, if you flip it to the other side, you can see how this is. So remember also the sides, the edges are still there. I'm also going to hem the sides all through. It's a very long one, all the way from top round, and also repeat the same thing for the other side. Okay, so once this is done, the final thing to do now will be what to take the measurement of the sides. Yes, so in taking the measurement of the side, first of all, we're going to take the measurement of the slip opening. You can see from the shoulder points, I'm marking out about 10 inches. So this 10 inches on both sides is going to represent what the sleeve opening. Okay, that's where the arms will pass through. So from that point now straight down, I'll start taking my every other measurements. The first is going to be on the bust line, which is still around that line where we stopped for our sleeve opening. The next, of course, is going to be the waist, then the hip as well. So the first thing to do now will just be to take note of those points, then of course mark out the midpoint. Okay, so this is going to be a guide. Okay, yes, so I'll go ahead and mark out the midpoint at every point there. But first of all, take note of what the bust measurement there. So the bust measurement, I splitted it into two. You can see me from that midpoint. I'm marking it on both sides. Then I'm taking my tape back again to the shoulder to indicate my waistline. So on that line again, I'll put my tape in a horizontal form, get the midpoint, and then take my waist measurement and split it into two from that center point. I hope you understand. There's nothing difficult here at all. Then I moved next to the hip. You can see me taking my shoulder, my tape back to the shoulder, marking my hip length. This is at 24. Then at that point, I straighten my tape to get what the midpoint from both edge. Then after that, I will take note of what my hip measurements, split it into two, right, and mark it from both sides of that center point. Okay, yeah, so from that hip line, I'll go ahead and take it straight down. But of course, if you want it to be in a pencil shape, you can also do that. That means on the lower part, you can just go ahead and take out about 1.5 inches by the side to make it pencil, just like the way we usually cut our pencil skirt. So you can see the only thing you do now is just to make sure that you chalk down every of this shape. You can see what I'm doing. I'm making sure that I'm chalking it down so that it will be visible, because we are actually sewing on this right side. Okay, yes, so you need to chalk it down so you can see how this is looking already. So just go to my machine and run my stitch all the way straight down. Also going to do the same thing for the other side as well. And guys, once you're done, this outfit is ready. So that is it, guys, on how to make this beautiful kaftan dress with a front slit opening. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me today. If you find this helpful, guys, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.